Alright guys, so I'm very excited to report that it is early afternoon. I spent this morning going and looking at another 70 acres, which I will hopefully be leasing in the coming days, as well as a seed drill, which I'm hoping to buy, which currently resides on said 70 acres. But whatever the case, it is finally time to see if this Case 930 series tractor, 931 technically, but it really doesn't matter. It's time to see if this Case 930 is actually going to get some work done for me. Basically, I went through, I've done a lot of work to this. There wasn't anything majorly wrong with it that I know about. We might be learning about something today, but there's nothing majorly wrong with it when I got it that I knew of. And so I went through, I rewired the entire thing. I gave it new fuel lines, replaced some fuel fittings, you know, went through, repacked the front wheel bearings, gave it two new tire, well, one new tire and a used tire, and just in general did all kinds of little stuff to get it fixed up. Changed all the fluids in it, and now we're gonna find out if this thing will actually farm. I really want to put it to work because that disc I have, it's only an 8-foot disc, but it's not a regular disc harrow like the ones you buy at, you know, Tractor Supply or whatever. This is a tillage disc, so it weighs a lot more. It is a lot more aggressive, and it takes a lot of power. Even though it's only an 8-foot disc, I'd really like to have about 100 horsepower in front of it to pull it comfortably in its speed. Other than this tractor, which is almost that, I don't have that. I've been pulling it behind my Kubota M7060, which is like 64 PTO horsepower. It's really quite undersized for that disc, and that's one reason why I really wanted to get this Case tractor up and running, because it weighs several thousand pounds more and it's got like a third more power. So it should be pretty much perfect for this if it works. I was hanging out with my neighbors last night. I was like, man, I'm actually pretty anxious about this because this is a completely unproven machine to me. And, you know, this is like driving cross country in a used car. You can count on one of two things. It's either going to be pretty much flawless or it's just going to explode 20 miles in. There is not a lot in between, and that is exactly what I expect. Got oil. right, so how did it go? I have had worst first times putting a piece of machinery into service. That is definitely true, however, not perfectly. I have gone through and done a lot of things to this tractor, but one thing I did not do is take the radiator out and pressure wash it. Pressure wash it, on account of me being from the Midwest. I have not pressure washed the radiator, and as such, the tractor is overheating. At least I hope that's what the problem is. I don't actually know. But yeah, I kept an eye on that temperature gauge. It was climbing, definitely. It blew right past 190. It was like, all right, anytime now. And we got to 210, and I was like, okay, all right, as long as it stops about here, not that bad. And the highest I saw it get was 230, but I made it a point to let it cool down as best as I could at the end of a row. I did another, I think about a full pass back, but it was easier because that direction is downhill. And then I let this thing cool down some over in that parking area, and then I shut it off. So, 'tis not ideal, but honestly not that bad. I did some quick Googling as I was sitting on this thing, and sitting on this tractor with my disc behind it, you know, like a moron in the middle of the field, not getting anything done. And I looked up some forum posts by some people on an old tractor site who said they had either the same tractor or one in that model, that group of models, however you'd like to say it. And they had them overheating until they really cleaned out the radiators on those, or they took them to a radiator shop and had them done. They didn't say what especially. I think there's a way they can like boil them or whatever. But other than that, it went pretty well. So what I'm gonna do is grab my trailer, and I come up here and get this thing and try to have it back ready to go first thing tomorrow. I'm not really surprised. I mean, in hindsight, I really should have made it a point to clean out that radiator, but I did not. And then, surprise, surprise, we are here. The other thing I will say that's not especially helpful is this is ground that has not been tilled in ages, as evidenced by the fact that it is very thick sod, and it's almost 100 degrees out here today. So I really am asking a lot of it. Yeah, it's just, you know, 50, 60 years of dust settling on that thing in a hard pack. I mean, it looked fine to me, and I'm pretty sure I even blew the radiator out with you know, with a air hose. But I mean, if that stuff is in there, it is really going to be in there. So yeah, let's do this. All right, day 2 of trying to do field work with this monster. Is this battery almost dead? Are you serious? This has been plugged in like since yesterday, but well, okay, whatever. Anyway, tractor was overheating. I think the problem with this tractor is that it chronically overheats. I'm with mechanic Steve in the belief that nobody sells functional, well-functioning farm equipment. There's a problem with every single machine on the market, and if you buy it, you have to figure out what that problem is. I think the problem with this tractor is that it overheats when you work it, because that gauge goes straight for 230, which is about 50 degrees too high. And yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell what happened yesterday. And what I did is I tore into it. I found out it uses not one but 2 automotive thermostats side by side. This thing is not looking too new. I don't know enough about these to be able to inspect it. It does move, but it's a little gritty. And whatever the case, hopefully the new ones that I just popped in here will solve the overheating issue. If not, it might need a radiator. I mean, it sucks, it's like $700, but honestly, this tractor was pretty much dirt cheap, and I haven't actually found out what the reason is why they sold it. So if the only problem is that it overheats, honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. That's full throttle, hopefully. It's supposed to be 16 or 1800 RPMs. So this warmed up pretty quick, but it seems to be hovering just over 180. I think it's a 180 degree set of thermostats that I bought, but I don't actually remember. Let's hope it stays there. Oh boy. storm is brewing. In the span of about 20 minutes, the sky has turned pretty much black up in that direction, and the wind is kicked up all over the place. And although it is only not even 6 o'clock, I almost need the lights to drive anywhere. Anyway, so you can see I'm in the newish Kubota, and the reason why is because I'm very happy to report that the giant case tractor has an overheating problem. There's a lot of lightning that way. I want to get under these trees as quick as possible, so I'm not the tallest thing out here. Well, anyway, yeah, tractor, you know, okay, so the first time I took it out, the temp gauge pretty much made a beeline straight to 230. Oh, hey, there's cows under here. Okay, yeah, all right, there's cows hiding in this tree line. Lucky the weather dog was incredibly clingy today, and I wasn't sure why, because I checked the forecast, and it said there's like a 20 or 30% chance of rain, which I'm assuming is 20-30% that way. Anyway, right. So what I did with the case is after day one, I swapped out both thermostats. It uses two for some reason. Well, both automotive truck style thermostats I swapped out. And then it actually did a lot better. I wasn't really sure that would do much of anything, but it did. It changed quite a few attributes of the way that tractor warms up. Instead of making a beeline straight for 230, this time it very slowly crept up to 180, and then it pretty much stayed there, making a very, very, very slow ascent up to 210 degrees. And so that was a big improvement. However, the tractor still overheats when it's being worked really hard, and that is pretty much full load, full throttle, and a 100+ degree day out here in Texas. Or at least it was. It's probably about 70 degrees right now. Oh, shoot, more lightning. Dang it, I'm parked in the middle of this field. Alright, there's something up with the brakes on this tractor. Come on, stop making that noise. Okay, I have to refuel this thing and get out of here before that rain shows up.